Good evening, y'all. Welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy, where the spirits are always served and the bar is always open. Tonight's guest is Becky Blackburn, a dear friend of mine that I met on a weekend fair. She was reading ruins. She is a medium, clairvoyant, clairaudient, Reiki master, Valkyrie. Tough woman.
Thank you.
And a farmer. And many other great things. Many other great things. How are you tonight, Becky?
I'm doing all right. Just glad it's warm and I'm enjoying my cup of tea, like made sure usually I'm in bed by now. So you kept me up late.
It's a late night. It's going to be a late night. I do that. 9:00 on a Sunday night is an odd time for a podcast.
But hey, that's all right. Yeah, I watched the show with my husband to keep me awake and drank some tea, and I thought, okay, good, now I'm ready.
So tell us more about yourself. What is it of all your gifts? What do you like doing the most?
Well, I'm Becky Blackburn. I call myself the Salt City Psychic. I'm from Hutchinson, Kansas, which is the Salt City. We have a huge cavern of salt underneath our city that they end up mining the salt and shipping it up to Chicago and using it on their streets instead of our streets, which makes no sense at all. But anyway, from Hutchinson, Kansas, and I have a shop downtown that I do Reiki. I teach Reiki. In fact, I've actually got 2 students I worked with today, so I've been teaching Reiki as well as doing Reiki for people, which I'm really big into that. I just think that Reiki's just saved my life and it's just my quality of life. I'm a much better person because of it, not as angry, more patient, all those good things. And I try to, hey, kind of share that love, that Reiki with other people to help other people out to, hey, heal and grow and thrive. That's what I kind of my motto anyway. But I do that. I also I call myself a master rune reader. I've been reading the runes since 2019, and I use them for practical purposes as well as divination. So I read for myself and for other people. That's what I specialize in when I do spirit fairs. I bring my runes with me. I do a lot of work, but I'll say that when I'm sitting there at the table and I've got my eyes closed and doing my thing, the little thing I really have noticed over the years is that I call it the playlist. I'll sit there and give people songs that they need to listen to. And I tell people, write that song down. There's some meaning in it. So it's like spirit speaks to me through music. So I, give that out as well while I'm doing readings for people. And it's kind of cool, but sometimes I'll say a song and they're like, damn, I heard that on the radio just the other day. And I'm like, well, see, they're wanting you to hear that. So I do that. And I love ghost hunting. That's my other thing too, my other passion. That's where I started my journey when I started testing myself out, about 9 years ago this year, actually, as I started my ghost hunting or my spiritual journey. When I turned 40, I decided I was done living my life the way I was living it. I was mean, ugly, just angry, cynical, just narcissistic, and I decided I have to change my life here, or I'm not gonna last. So I started ghost hunting to kind of find myself, and it's led to this, to the point where I mean, 9 years ago, I would have laughed at you. I'd been doing podcasts and doing, reading.
Well, it seems so
like,
weird
oh, wait,
to have you say you were mean. I can't see that.
Oh, yeah, I can be mean. I mean, I still can, but now
No, not you. Never mean.
I catch it now. Okay. That's my husband and my kids and my dog. They might argue, or coworker.
I just can't see that in you.
Yeah. Well, we all tend to wear masks.
That just doesn't even seem possible.
We wear masks. A lot of people.
Yes, we do.
Well, that's what I've learned with Reiki, is to take off the mask and live an authentic life. Be yourself, and you're going to be a lot happier. Stop being what other people want you to be, and when you bottle that up for year after year, all the way from childhood, it just makes you mean and angry, and then you take it out on other people and drive them crazy too, and drive them away. So now I feel like, since I've taken that mask off, now I'm myself. Now I'm seeing my friends. Now I'm seeing people, and people are coming in my life that really make my life much richer. Like you, for instance. I mean, if I would have been my old mean ugly self, you would have been like, oh, not that. But no, you see, and that's just it. That's what I like about doing the spirit fairs is that I get to be my authentic self around people that are like me. So, I finally found my tribe, but it started the year I turned 40. And it took that long to finally
Wow.
find.
See? So there's hope for everybody that's out there that goes, I still haven't found myself. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing my thing off and on from my 20s, but did not jump in, didn't even try to find myself until, 2019.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. About
You
2016 for
know,
right around that time.
and
And I,
lots of growth, like huge for both of us.
And I wish I would have found it sooner, but I don't. The universe wasn't ready for me to find it then. I was supposed to be a mom. I was supposed to focus on those things because I think I would have went down a different path, a more darker path. Unfortunately, had I discovered my power back then, back when I was in my early 20s before I had kids.
Sure.
So, universe kind of interrupted me with that. So, but that's okay. Hey, I'd rather be 40 than I mean, whatever. So I feel like I'm
Well,
trying to play catch up now with all these young kids that are out there getting into this spiritual stuff. And it's like, man, it's old people, I still got. but no,
challenging though.
yeah,
It's
it really,
challenging.
and it's been very eye opening for me I'm very, I see the good in everybody when I first meet them, and then I eventually figure out who they are. So, it's been surprising to see that, you think spiritual worlds, these spiritual people are so peace, love, light, and sharing and caring, like Care Bears. No, there's a lot out there that you just, you find your tribe. Okay. That's my advice to people. Be very mindful of who you really share a lot with, because not everybody has the best interest out for you. There's a lot of jealousy, and it was disappointing to
No.
find that out during this journey for the past 9 years. That, man, I really thought they were all peace,
Oh
love,
my
and light.
gosh.
Not. I mean, it's just like any other.
No. And they'll act like you're best friends and get you in the back.
They do.
Nope.
So
Nope.
I've,
And never tell anybody what you're going to do.
I've learned the hard way. So I'm finally figuring it out. Thank God. That just be mindful. Be quiet.
Celebrate successes after the success and not when you're going into it,
Amen. So
because it
yeah,
is a cutthroat community.
it really is. So I was kind of disappointed with that when I first started. Like, man, I can't, but hey, I get it. I mean, hey, every field is that way. So why wouldn't this be as well? But for the most part,
That's
I've
true.
found a lot of really good people, and have been, very encouraged to keep, doing what I'm doing. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing it. Be like, hey, you can do this. You got the confidence, you got the skills, and just, realizing in myself that I do. So, but
Hmm.
universe like that, they would keep beating me over the head over repeatedly if I didn't follow my path. So now I know, hey, stay focused, keep moving forward, and don't let the outside forces out there distract you and pull you away from it. So, and believe me, there's a lot. Last year was one of those years for me, which was trying to pull me away from it. I'm like, no, I can't let that happen. So I prevailed. 2025, thank God.
Well, we're doing good.
Yes.
2024 2024 was the year for, if you were doing well, things wanted to jump in and stop us all the way through.
Oh yeah,
Like I
definitely.
felt like all the way through I was fighting uphill the whole year, closing
The whole
doors, getting rid of relationships, just that
Yeah,
balancing act of why is this happening? Why? It
yeah,
was clearing the way for 2025.
yeah. And now I feel clearer, and then now I feel like a lot of challenges have finally, things have simmered down. Now it's like, okay, let's stay focused and focus on this business, and helping people, and continuing to grow and keep moving forward with it. So it's like sky's the limit. That's what I say. Hey,
Well, it
just
is. It
you know,
is. And shifting focus. Have you noticed the difference in the people coming to the fairs and what they're looking for, and I hate to use the word neediness, but the needs have shifted completely.
yeah, I would say a lot of people are they're just feeling like they're walking this tightrope, and they're not no they're and I tell them, hey, don't look behind you, don't look down, keep moving forward, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you're going to make it past this. I mean, time
Mhm.
is all Time really is on our side. It's just people want everything to happen right now. And there is no such thing as instant gratification. But the instant gratification you do get is not going to be what you really want in the end. So,
No,
so
no.
slow it be more like the tortoise than the hare. That's my advice to people, slow and steady. I mean, it's taken me 9 years to get where I'm at. Okay. It takes time. It's just, just be mindful,
And
and
fear.
and
Have you noticed the fear?
yes, the fear out there in people. It's like, come on, guys, don't let that fear win. They want you to be scared. They do. They feed off of it. I think of the movie Monsters Inc. Okay. I used to watch that show with my kids, Monsters Inc., a Disney movie that had the little green one-eyed guy, Mike, and then Sully,
Mm-hmm.
the blue monster. And in that movie, they powered their city with fear. They went into the kids' homes and scared them. And that's how they energized their city. Well, they were always running short on fuel, okay? Well, when they finally figured
Yep.
out that joy and happiness created more energy and more power, then that's how the monster started, fueling their city. So I think about that analogy of just the America in general. They want you to be scared. They want to take that power away from people. But if we would be a little more positive and stop watching TV and stop feeding that machine, you're going to find you're going to be more happy in life. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
stopped TV 11 years ago. I mean, I watch Netflix. I'm guilty of that. I do like my shows, but I don't watch cable
Mm-hmm.
TV. I don't watch news. And I must say, I haven't gotten wrapped up in a lot of what the craziness that's going around. Not that I'm not ignorant about it. I know what's going on. I just don't sit
Sure.
there and just go over my life and create fear. And I'm like, because that's what they want me to do. They want us to be scared, and we need to really stop feeding that machine. It's like that. It's like that movie, that kid movie. It really is. Keep feeding them fear. That's what they want. That's what they feed off of, and we gotta stop
And
doing
people are
that.
genuinely scared. People are so genuinely scared. You watch
Yeah.
them in the supermarkets, the snowpocalypse here in Missouri,
Oh yeah.
it's going to snow. The sky is falling. People are
Yeah.
buying 2 and 3 cartloads of groceries
Yeah.
and running out the store. It's a 2-day snowstorm, guys. We got like 3 inches of snow.
Exactly. It's not the
It
end of.
doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell people. It's like your ancestors should be rolling over in their graves right now, going, "Why are you guys freaking out? Be prepared. But don't be scared." They would have never survived like they did out here on the prairie if they were scared all the time. They just, powered
No.
through and did it. I mean, people need to start thinking more of what did my ancestors do back in the day? Well, first of all, they didn't drive around in these icy roads. They stayed home and they
No.
worked crafts and made sure their animals were taken care of and made sure they were working on whatever projects they needed to do when they took advantage of the winter of slowing down and taking their time and
Took care of their kids.
took care of their kids, took care of their home, took care of their
Red.
kids. And it's just such a rat race thing. I don't know, the snowstorm just really blew me away, just the urgency that people, I gotta get out, I gotta get out. No, you don't. You're going to be okay. If you really need that big of a help, call a fireman, call somebody to help you. You don't need to get out on the road.
Right.
Too many people died this past weekend or a weekend ago.
Yes.
Too many that could have been prevented if they would have just stayed home and then just stay home. It's okay.
Well, and I watched on Facebook the number of people that were, like, do you know anybody running DoorDash? What the fuck, people? Like, why is it so critical you have DoorDash this weekend? Like, you've had months to have DoorDash. Why the weekend when it's the worst do you need DoorDash?
Yeah, to let those people. I mean, it's like I talk about it at work. It's like it's $1,000 deductible on my car. I don't make that much in money in a day to cover that. So we
Nope.
shouldn't be going to work if we can't cover that in one day. I
Nope.
know people funny. I'm like, well, it's truth. They aren't going to pay for that wrecked car. So
Well, in work, I mean, work, how many people are going to be replaced instantly if something happens to them? And I hate to say that. I mean, I was that nurse. I was that person that worked
yeah,
3 jobs. I bought into it. Somebody would call me in and I would say, okay. And I
yeah,
would come in because I was quote unquote needed.
yeah,
Then I
yeah,
went out sick, and how needed was I? I was instantly replaced.
exactly. Yeah,
People took my hours, people took my shift. People didn't check up on me. I meant shit. Nothing to them.
Mhm.
Nothing. I was a number. I was a statistic. So
That's
why kill yourself going in?
that's what we were all saying. Like, just stay home, stay safe and stay warm. Read a book, do something. I don't know. I'm very vocal about that. Like,
Bake
kind of,
cookies, bake bread.
you know, and I just, yeah, just, I don't know. Just everybody's scared. Everybody's scared of not making money. Not. It'll come to you. The universe will take care of you. You just got to have a little faith in that and put out that love, and you'll end up getting it back. I mean, I'm living proof. Okay, I used to have a bad negative attitude about money, and now I'm like, no, man. Whenever I have a little trouble, a little financial, all of a sudden I have a little something pop up in my bank account, or some little opportunity come up, and I get what I need, not what I want. And I think people need to shift that attitude too, in the process. Focus on what you
And
need.
that's a biggie.
Focus on your needs, not your wants, because you're never going to get what you want. I don't care how rich you are, how poor you are, you're going to get what you need, and
Mhm.
that's a lesson that we all need to learn with that. I know it's
Well, and
hard.
I make sure when people tip me that I
Hmm.
take that some of that tip money and I pass that on to other people, because the law of
Yes.
correspondence says that
Hmm.
if I give what I have, more will come.
Absolutely. I agree with
I will
that.
be more than taken care of, and I always have been. I
And I've
always have been.
I've seen that at the spirit fairs too. Is like when we're all a little slow, if we all would get up and put a little bit of money here and there, all of a sudden we start getting a little more busy. A little more business walks up to our table after we done, spread that money around. It's very interesting how it works. It's kind of neat.
It does. It does. I have this thing. I watch people, and I know you've had this at your table too. You know, people will say, well, when I make so much money, I will go and, I'll go buy stuff. I go Friday when I'm setting up and I buy everything I want,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
know it'll come back to me. I've just spread around my love. It'll come
yeah.
back. I
That
have
happened.
enough faith every time that it will come back, and it has every single time.
Well, and I kind of experimented with that in Wichita at the spirit fair that we had at the Cotillion. That Friday or that Thursday, I didn't spend any money. I just walked around and kind of looked. Well, I didn't have a lot of business, even though it was a Thursday. But hey, the year before I had quite a bit. Well, the next day, that was immediately what I did. I got some money. I was like, here, I need to buy these things. These are the items my kids were picking out for Christmas. And I had a really very busy day that day because, hey, I put the money out there, and kind of day before I didn't do so hot. The next day I was on fire all day long, making it. And but yeah, so it's kind of interesting how the energy exchange thing works. You
Yeah,
got to spend money to make it,
it is.
help other people
And
out.
faith. You have to have faith.
Yeah, you do. So I recommend that to people.
Hey,
They're like,
Greg.
oh, you know put that little bit of that money
Yes,
out,
spend
but be
and
mindful.
bless other people.
Yeah, oh, that too, just show interest.
Wish people good luck.
Yeah, and show interest in their product. I've been to some fairs where you like, I'm like, oh man, there's a $250 freaking fish, man. I kind of like that petrified fish. He's kind of neat, but I never get an interaction from the seller. I'm like, well, obviously you don't want to sell it that bad. I mean, I've came over here twice to look at it. Other people, they're like, they're just popping, and you're like, oh, I want to buy from you. So that's my other advice to people at these spirit fairs. You got to put some energy out. You can't sit there looking at your phone. You got to, meet and greet and meet, even if they don't even spend a
Oh my
dime with
gosh.
five. I mean, I can have a conversation
I
with
hate
somebody,
that.
and try to interact. Hey, if they don't spend no money, at least they had some kind of interaction with me. But yeah, don't
Well,
sit there
and
and just,
that's half of the thing.
Mhm.
Networking.
Yeah, just networking, just meeting and talking to people and showing interest in what they have. And yeah, I believe me, I wish I could afford to buy from everybody, but hey, at least I show enough interest, maybe touch a few things to say, hey, maybe this will be the item that gets blessed, and it'll pop off your table next. you know?
We'll go to the right person, because
Yeah.
people have such cool things, and
Oh yeah.
and like you nailed it when you said get off your phone. We are such a hooked in society. Oh my God, get off your phone. You paid
Yeah.
for a ticket. Get off your
Exactly.
phone and interact and talk to people.
And what I do is I have a set of cards, my playing cards. Because I played them the whole time I sat there across from you, and I play
Mhm.
solitaire just so I'm doing something that isn't sitting there on my phone. I don't want people walking by thinking that's what I'm more interested in that. No, I'm just playing solitaire. Don't mind me trying to beat Odin. You know, 1,000 games with those damn cards. I kid you not. But
And how many times has Odin won?
oh, he's won a lot more than me.
He smashes solitaire.
But it's just my advice to people. If you're good, because I noticed that more and more people are getting into the spirit fairs and doing booths and things. And I just it's kind of just my little advice, my observations of who I see who's successful and who I see who's struggling, and meet and greet people, put the energy out there, because it does take a lot of energy to do these spirit fairs. I
Oh
mean,
my
you
gosh, it
I
does.
mean, you're constantly, but yeah, if you don't have that, it's probably, do smaller events or something first. Kind of test out the waters before you really jump into a big weekend thing, because yeah, you're gonna be wiped out by the end of the week. I'm done peopling by the time the day's over.
Oh, yes.
I've had
Oh,
enough. You know?
I can remember doing, gosh, some of the fairs that we've both been to. You do, my reads are about an hour. I think I've cut them back some, but you've done 10 reads in a day
Exactly, because I
and
don't
you
really,
feel,
I'm done when I'm done. Kind of thing.
yeah,
But you can do 10. That's a lot.
you're wiped out.
Yeah, you're
You're
pretty tired.
goofy. I mean, you like, there's times I've been laughing. I'm so fucking slap happy. I have no idea what I'm even saying. And people are like, how much have you drank? And I'm like, I haven't even started yet. Like,
I haven't. I'm just tired.
this is just clean. Like, this is sober. I'm wiped out. So
But
tell people you read runes. Explain what that is, because some of my viewers may not know what that is.
well, the runes are the Nordic divination system. They're it's the Elder Futhark runes, which was the very first alphabet that the Nordic people, or Proto-Germanic people, whatever you want to call them, they that was their first alphabet. The runes are 24 symbols that represent different energies. And what I always like to say with the runes is that it's like a journey. They're split into three different sets of eight. The first set of eight, the first row of runes, deal with building your physical house, getting your house together, getting your education, learning to ask for help, learning how to protect that house, that property, this house. I use a lot of analogies, trees and houses. But anyway, you got to get out of the house and travel. You got to be able to learn. You've got to be able to exchange energy with other people, and it makes you feel very happy and successful. Wunyo is the last rune of the first set of eight. That's like you waving the flag, like, hey, I made it, I'm doing it. Second set of eight deal with cleaning that house, because in order to grow spiritually, we got to get rid of the crap we don't need on our house. I mean, when your house is full of crap and in a hoarder's
Mm.
house, you can't move around that house. Nobody wants to come over and visit you. Okay, yeah, that's just stored energy. Well, the runes, the second set of eight, deal with breaking up that stagnation, that energy, those things that you don't need. So, second set of eight deal with cleaning the house. Well, when you get done cleaning that house, it's like you're hit with a spiritual bolt of enlightenment. That's when you start working with your spiritual house, your spiritual self. So the last set of eight are deal with the spiritual house, the spiritual runes, where you're learning to find direction, finding your North Star, and you're finding out how to love yourself and love others. And, you go on and on and on. And eventually you become the master of the house that you started building with that very first rune, which is Fehu. Fehu is the first rune. It's the rune of gaining your money, gaining your wealth, getting your cattle together. Because Fehu literally means cattle. That's what that was how they were. That was their basis of wealth back in the day, was how many cattle did they have? How many horses did they have? How much crops did they bring in? If they were very wealthy, if they had all that going, or you could be very poor. I mean, but you start with that, building that foundation, just like in life. You start building your foundation and you work through the map of the runes, that trail of runes, and you become the master of that house. So what I always like to say to people is that my daytime job, I'm a pharmacy technician. I have mastered being a pharmacy technician. I can't go any further with it. Okay. It is what it is. And but I'm bored with that. my setting up my table at a spirit fair or my business downtown, that's my vacation house. The runes, I traveled through and did my pharmacy tech work. I became the master of that house. Now I'm working on my vacation home. And like any vacation home, that's where you go to feel joyous and happy and you feel successful and you want to keep growing that vacation house. So I look at that way with the runes too, that you build your basic and then you start working on the next house. So when I see people and I pull that master rune for them, I'm like, oh hell, you done been through your trials. You've cleaned house. You worked on things. Now you need to start working on that vacation home. Now that you've mastered this space of your life, So that's how I look at it with the runes. But the runes, it's practical purposes. In fact, that's how I started using them back in the day when I started working with a psychic Cynthia Killian. She's a wonderful, wonderful psychic medium from Wichita. I know she's got a website. You can look her up. She's great. But she's my mentor who taught me the runes. Because the very first time I worked with her during a mentorship phone call, she detected I was a little angry. Okay, I've always have had this angry thing about myself. Like I have to really kind of watch myself angry. But she told me you use thorisage. There was something in the house that was attached to my husband that loved picking fights with me and loved me feeding it that anger and rage and that mean. And finally she said, here, use this hammer. For 3 weeks I used thorisage, which is Thor's hammer. And anytime I'd feel that fight coming on, anytime I'd feel that feeling inside like I want to fight, no, I'd break out that hammer and whack away at that. And 3 weeks into it, I'm at home one evening, and I know I was reading or watching Netflix or something, and I heard a loud crash in one of the rooms in my house, and I decided to ignore it. I decided not to feed whatever was trying to get a reaction out of me. And but anyway, the next day I went to get my vacuum out of the closet. It was my daughter's old bedroom. She hadn't lived there for about 9 months. She went to school, so nobody was in the room. And I opened up that closet door, and my daughter had a plastic airplane sitting on top of a shelf. It had been knocked off the shelf and was smashed to pieces all over the floor of that closet. Well, I got mad then. I'm like, you know what? Whoever you are, you're getting the hell out, man. This is enough. So I drew the rune on a piece of paper. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of just threw whatever at it, cleaned up the mess, vacuumed the house, put the vacuum away. But I'll tell you, 2 or 3 days later, I came home from work, opened up my front door, and the whole energy in my house was like that stuffiness, that stagnation was gone. Like this clarity in my
Mm-hmm.
house. Like the lights were brighter, the colors were brighter around here. I mean, it was just amazing how the shift of energy. But it took me whacking away at that thing with the hammer. So anytime I feel something, some kind of energy like that in my house, I'll break out Thor's hammer and be like, okay, thorisage, 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 and get rid of it that way. So the runes can be used. That's just one example of practical purposes for the runes. You can use some of the runes for harvest. Like if you're planting a garden, you can scratch Yira, which is, another rune that, is kind of a rune of cycles. I call it the farmer rune. Scratch that into your dirt and that'll help with the cycle, the growth cycle of the plant that you're trying to plant. And another rune I like to use is called Isa. And I mean, I'll be like, it's like, it looks like a number one or an I. If I'm feeling like I need to chill out, if I'm feeling like that, Isa, 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 and that'll chill me out. So I call it the chill out rune. So as you work, so if you decided to work with the runes and you started working with them, you're going to start picking up on these ones that you could use for your own personal purposes. It isn't just divination with the runes. You can use them for practical purposes. But they're definitely not play toys. You definitely got to take them
No.
seriously because you work too much urus, which is the power rune, the health rune, it could really jack up your life. So there's kind of a balance there. But my advice to people who want to start with the runes, get yourself a bag of runes. Either make your own runes, which I think is fabulous, or just buy some bone runes. Crystal runes are beautiful, but I feel like I'm lazy. Okay, I'm not gonna cleanse my runes all the time. I swear to God, I really
No.
am not. I'm lazy.
No.
Okay, but you get some bones, some rocks, or some pieces of wood and carve those symbols into them, make your own. Then just pull one every morning and ask the question, what is my position in the universe? What do I need to know today? And you're going to look at that rune, get yourself a real simple book. I use the Ralph Bloom book. Yes, I use the Ralph Bloom book. Ralph Bloom was an author back in the early 80s who wrote a book on the runes. And he put them in his own personal order And a few of them, some of the meanings are pretty spot on to what they are. I mean, hey, whatever. But I use that book as a really easy guide map to help me memorize the runes. Now, I don't do the blank rune. I'm a traditionalist. That's Ralph Bloom thing there. I mean, if but that's what I did every morning for like a year. And I still have my sticky notes at my desk at work that if I need to, focus on a rune, I can pull that off of that list and put it on my computer screen and just subconsciously look at that rune all day long, and go, okay, what does Issa mean for me? Or hey, maybe I need some money. Let's put some Fehu there. Put that rune up there. If maybe I need to communicate better, I'll put Ansu's. Another, so there's not, the sky's the limit with the runes. Okay, you can use them for multiple purposes, not just divination. But I do on Monday mornings. I do a weekly rune reading now. And then, but oftentimes when you read for yourself, it's kind of hard to figure out the meaning of it right off the bat. Like if a person sits in front of me, well, I'm going to figure that out right off the bat, what that means. Me, it takes a little
Mhm.
longer. So you can see, okay, what do I think it means today on Monday? But by the time Friday gets there, now I see what happened throughout the week. Okay. Kind of my little guidepost, my little guide, but I put that on my computer screen. I'm very, very lucky I have an office at work. I can kind of, do this stuff without having to explain it to
I do that with.
but then
I think when we read ourselves, it becomes difficult because.
yeah, the
Go
ego
ahead.
that the ego wants to step in when we
I
read
think we
for us.
cheat ourselves when we read ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like our ego wants it to be something when it's really not, because the runes are so brutally honest. Sometimes it's like, oh shit, man, I don't
Mhm.
want to see that, and I want to make it rosy
Yeah,
when
we don't want to hear it. Not ready.
and anytime I pull Fehu and I pull it in a reverse position, that means Fehu's the money rune. I pull that in a reverse position. I'm like, do not go out and spend money on something stupid, Becky. They're telling you not to. And I have totally ignored that, okay? I've totally ignored the Fehu reverse and
Oh
went out.
yeah,
Oh shit, I could have used that $500 I spent on nothing. But I had car trouble. I had a car that I decided to
yeah.
buy a car, and I consulted the runes before I bought the car. And yes, the rune reading said, yes, Becky, get a different vehicle. This thing's going to cause disruption in your life and more grief. So yeah, so I definitely, so yeah, that's kind of how I use the runes. And I do a 9 world rune reading as well, which, but it's my basic reading. I pull 4 runes, then I do a 9 world reading. You pull 9 runes, and now I'm doing the 12 month of the year rune reading. And I do online rune readings. So if anybody's interested in a rune reading, get a hold of me, and I could do it through like a FaceTime, or I mean, I'm not real super techy, but I'll figure it out. So I do offer rune readings online as well as at
Send
Spirit
me
Fair.
send me your link when we're done here,
I will do that definitely, and yeah, you can schedule through my Facebook page or whatever. I'm pretty
and
low
I'll
tech.
we'll get it posted up.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, because I just think that the runes, they're not really well known. They've been around a long time. But and everybody thinks tarot and oracle, which I've even been incorporating some oracle card readings while I do rune readings. I use a deck called the Urban Crow Oracle, and it'd be a crow theme, Odin crows. And I like to pull the runes and then see what do the birds have to
Mm-hmm.
say, and then you look at the runes and you're going, well, that rune correlates with that card and that card. So it's very cool to kind of see that, lay it all out there together to say, okay, which ones correlate with what. Are we on track? What do the birds have to say? So it's been fun incorporating that. I'm very rigid sometimes, and I need to think more outside of the box, and like, okay, we'll incorporate this too. People kind of like cards, so I'm learning. you know but yeah, like I said, the runes are,
Change
yeah,
it
the runes.
up. Change it up. Barbara, hi.
Yeah, gotta change it up. That's what I'm saying. but that's kind of what the runes are for me. Like I said, I started out using them for
Yeah,
practice.
absolutely.
Now I do divination and I use them still practically. So yeah, I don't do a lot of bind runes. That's another thing too. I'll talk about a little bit is bind runes. I've got a friend of mine who's from Quebec. He actually is the one that makes my cloths. Francois. They're you bought a cloth from him too. That
Yep,
beautiful
mine
cloth.
too.
Oh, I love the cloth of yours too. But he says, it's like he says, bind
He's
runes.
so cool.
You can go online and find bind runes, but you have no idea what the intention was of that person who created that bind rune that they posted
Nope.
online. So it's better to make your own bind runes. But before you do that, you better make sure you study the energies of those runes and really know your shit before you go and create something that might backfire on you. You know, I'm not really big into the bind rune,
Absolutely.
but I have people ask me questions
Yeah.
about them. Like, I don't really, I mean, I could, but, I know enough now I would feel comfortable in creating a bind rune tattoo if I really felt like I wanted to or whatever. But
Mhm.
I'd recommend, hey, do that,
Yeah.
do it.
Be careful what you put on your body.
That's right. Research it out before you go and just do something that some guy on YouTube says. But do this. No, make your
Oh,
own. know?
yeah. Yeah. And like she said, understand what it is you're doing, because if you don't, you've just bound something to you
Oh,
that
yeah,
that may not be in your best interest. Barbara,
exactly.
hi. Glad to see you. Greg wanted to know if Oracle, that my posts are not staying on. So pardon my questions if I'm not phrasing them right. I'm trying to do them by memory. But Greg wanted to know, yeah, do you rate ruins differently than Oracle cards?
Do I rate them? Oh, I
Like
definitely.
if you were going to say which one,
Oh, as far as which, well, with the, do I rate the runes differently? Well, I don't. I feel like I trust the source. Maybe this is how I'm going to answer this question. I feel like I trust the source that from the runes more than I trust the oracle card source. I mean, because I work with Odin and Freya when I work with the runes, and I know when Odin and Freya are working through me, giving those messages out. Oracle cards, I feel like, are kind of generic of sorts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't mean to be insulting to any oracle readers, but I just feel like there's just the runes are very highly intelligent. Okay, each one of them have an intelligence. I mean, they're from the universe. Odin scooped those puppies up and brought that to the world when he hung from the tree and sacrificed to gain the knowledge of the runes. So there's deep universal knowledge in the runes. So I would definitely rate the runes on a higher level than the oracle card. And that may be the struggle people have when they go to learn the runes, is that maybe they make it a little too hard, or they, because a lot of people kind of give up on them a little. Yeah, they're not flashy
yeah,
cards.
don't
They're
give up on
not
him.
cards.
Don't give
They,
up
they,
on him.
they
Barbara says
don't.
she just bought her first set.
Oh, nice. Good for you. Well, you get a
She
hold
said
of
so she appreciates your advice.
yeah, get a hold of me if you're ever interested in learning about the runes. I do have information. I teach the runes as well as I teach Reiki. I enjoy talking about the damn runes. I could talk all night long about them. I mean,
Mhm.
they're they're like I said, they're intelligent, and they're brutally honest. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. Okay, they're going to tell you what you need to know. And I always ask that question: what is my position in the universe? What is it that I need to know today? But if you get a set of runes, you don't necessarily have to ask that question. You can ask other questions. And that's the thing too as well, is that you don't, just because they're Nordic doesn't mean you have to work with Nordic gods when you work with the runes. You could work with your ancestors. You could work with guides. You could work with, any god out there and ask for information through those runes. So don't feel like you got to box yourself in and think, oh, now I got to go full Nordic on this. No, you can work with really any god, any guide through the runes. I mean, they're generic in that sort. They're not, you know, not tied to, you
And
don't have
it's
to
an
tie your,
open system.
it is,
For, for for people who are confused religiously, or you're afraid you're going to be taking something from something, your Nordic religions, your Nordic gods, that is not a closed system religion or spirituality by
oh,
any means. It's open to everyone who is interested, and they will come and work with anyone who is interested.
it's very universal. So don't feel like you got to just work with Odin and Freya. You could work with some Egyptian gods. Maybe I should try working with Shiva. I've been told Shiva hangs out with me a lot. I could talk to
Mhm.
him, that god, through the runes. But I should try that. I should experiment.
I love
And
Shiva. Love
he's
Shiva.
two in my life. I mean, he's a huge guardian. What does Shiva have to say to me? Maybe I should do that tomorrow morning. What Shiva?
There
What
you
is it
go.
that so yeah, don't feel like you have to work with just Nordic gods. And a good book to start out with is called, not only the Ralph Bloom book. Again, I mean, don't don't base your rune study on that unless you really want to. But there's another book called Taking Up the Runes, and it's by a gal named Diane Paxton. I forget, but I've read that book like 2 or 3 times, and every time I read it, and it's a big book, and it's very scholarly. It's got a lot of intelligence written in that book. I pick up on new things. Is it'll teach you a little bit of the back history of the runes. It'll teach you the modern meanings of the runes, but and there's some rituals in there and things that you can kind of work with them as well. That's a good book to get if you're gonna do some rune study. Anything by Dr. Jackson Crawford. I love him. Get yourself a copy of the Havamal, particularly the Dr. Jackson Cowboy Havamal. That one's really good. I mean, I get that way Odin's word, because that's like Odin's. Sorry, Odin. That's like Odin's Bible. Okay, that's his guidebook. Okay, he don't like me calling it the Bible, but his guidebook. That's just because the story of how he scooped up the runes, and he gave birth to that, whatever. But so I'd recommend a Havamal. I'd recommend that book. The Thunder Wizard, which he's a YouTube guy. He's kind of went off the deep end nowadays, but he's got like 3 or 4 videos on YouTube that I've watched that kind of tell that, like you said, breaking up the runes into 3 different sets of 8. I would highly recommend doing that. He's got some he's called the Thunder Wizard. His name is Michael Denny.
Mhm.
You can find him on YouTube, and he's got really good videos on the runes. Another good YouTuber, his name is Arith Harger, and that's Arithh, and then Arith, and then Harger, like Harger. Don't quote me on that. He's another good guy that's got a good series on the runes as well, as far as going in depth. But that's just it. If you're going to work with them, do your research on them. You're going to bond with them better. Definitely. But yeah, just pull one every morning, man. Pull one every morning and ask that question: what's my position in the universe? And then just be mindful. Carry the rune in your pocket. Draw it on a piece of paper. Bond with it, and just figure it out. They'll bond with you. I mean, if it's meant to be, it's
Yeah, they
meant to
will.
be. It is.
Greg says, can you use them in a toolbox, or do you think it complicates your journey? My answer would be, I think you should use them.
Oh, absolutely. It's just part of your toolbox.
It's another tool. It's not going to confuse anything. You're not mixing anything.
It's kind of like me. Now I'm doing the rune reading for my client first, then I pull those oracle cards. Well, the oracle cards have become part of my toolbox too. So yeah, your runes are your toolbox, just like your pendulum, and just like divination. The runes are a great member of your toolbox. You'll find the appropriate times to use them, and you might find you might use them a lot, a lot more than you may use the other ones, just because they're so simple. There's such a simplicity with them. I mean, the more you bond with them, the more you're gonna walk outside and you're gonna see the runes. Okay, you're gonna see them everywhere. The more and more you bond with them, they're just going to be right there in your face all the time. You'll see them on car tags. You'll see them if you're walking out on the path or something. You see little sticks and stuff. I see runes everywhere, and some of them are very complicated runes. It's like, now how the hell did that form by itself?
There's no way. It did not. It did not.
Way.
It was put in the path.
Letter B written in sticks. No way. But you become conscious of that. You start seeing them everywhere. So those messages are everywhere, and the runes are very nature. And I think that's what I like about the runes too. I'm a very nature person, so you see them. The Nordic people were very nature people, obviously. So they saw the runes everywhere too. So that was their way of the nature and the gods communicating to them as they would go about their day. Whatever they did back then. Surviving. But
Hi,
yeah.
Carol. I got people joining us. I was like, trying to say hi. It's funny. I had a set of ruins made by Norma, who was a guest on my podcast a few weeks ago, and they're blood ruins. So she draws blood. She has a let me try to say that again. Phlebotomist that comes out to the shows and draws blood, and she actually incorporates the blood into the acrylic and other mediums and makes ruins. So they're made from me.
Oh, wow.
And I love those ruins. I mean, they are strong.
That would be very strong energy. Yeah, my favorite runes are my turtle shell runes that I was out walking my dog a couple years ago, and and there was this cache of turtle shells that you could tell either was a fox or a coon or something was taking them out of the creek and eating them and storing the empty shells in this spot. And saw them, and I was like, first thing in my head, I'm like, damn, those would make some good runes. So I did took the dog back home, grabbed me a bag, and I scooped them all up. But it took me about a year before I got brave enough to make runes out of them. And I put them in the dirt during the winter and let them kind of chill out. In fact, I've got a set out on my front porch right now. I'm going to work on that are turtle shell runes that I'm trying to decide if I'm going to sell them or give them or whatever I'm going to do. But
Wow.
I made my own runes, and I used the color red when I painted the symbols on them, and that's my personal set. They've aged really well. But yeah, when you make your own set, especially something like that, you find some kind of thing, something out of nature like that, and yeah, they're my favorite runes. I mean, I trust them so much with information, but I love my little bone ones that I bought years ago, my very first set. Because I've
Mhm.
tried the acrylic ones. Is I've got a set that are made out of orgonite. Actually, they're a little harder to read. Maybe
Mhm.
that's why much. And and I've got some that I cast that look like little crows, that if I feel like I want to cast the runes, which casting is just another way of doing the divination. I tend to set them up in patterns, but sometimes I'll just throw the runes and kind of see, okay, which ones. You just that's when you kind of look. That's when you really develop your rune reading study, is when you start casting the runes, because there's no
Mhm.
right or wrong, but you look and see which ones are upright, which ones are not face down, and kind of which ones are closest to you, and counterclockwise and clockwise. You pay attention to all, and it's just crazy with the runes, is that you read these books, and you get this good foundational information out of the books that you buy, but the more you read, you start seeing deeper meanings in those runes. Every time I do rune readings at spirit fairs, I learn more and more and more meanings behind the runes. It's crazy.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the master of the house, that hit me one time with somebody at a freaking spirit fair, and I'm like, oh my god, you're a master. This makes so much. You built the house. You've mastered it. I wouldn't have came up with that on my own. There is no book saying that. Okay, that's a master rune. Well, it is to me, because that's the interpretation. So you're going to find your own interpretations from them, as well as you delve deeper and deeper into those meanings of those runes. So it's amazing. Just a couple little scratch marks. That's all they are. They're
Yeah.
little tiny.
So
There's
make
no
your own.
make your
Those of you guys that want to go, don't, I mean, I hate to say don't support Amazon, because we all, Prime is one of our gods that we go to all the time, but make your own.
find 24 beautiful flat rocks. Paint and just be mindful about gathering them. Just it's
Paint
like I
the,
said,
oh
oh
yeah, little, um,
yeah,
pebble, those,
pebbles or
ask
acorns.
permission. Ask
Yeah,
permission before you take anything. Yes.
yes, acorns would be lovely.
Barbara says she has a lapis set.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
Oh, acorns would be neat. They roll really well too.
if you do use crystal runes, because I do have a nice set of crystal points that a friend of mine picked out for me recently. If you do use crystal runes, make sure you clear them, okay, with sage or water, however you clear your stuff, whatever. Make sure, because it's going to hold energy in them, just like any other
Yep.
crystal you shop. The runes are crystal runes, the same damn thing. Okay, clear those, because that's why I don't use crystal runes at these fairs. I would feel
No,
integrity would be off if I did not cleanse those damn runes between every freaking client, and I ain't got time for that. Bones
no.
are hold that person's energy in for the next person. Every reading's
Yes.
different. So that's my other advice.
Yes.
People, once, please cleanse them and clear them. If you want to read for other people, I'd recommend getting some wood or something that does not hold other people's energies. And
Right. Or keep selenite. I mean, you're going to have to selenite or smoke or do something constantly in between each person.
I'm lazy, okay? Come on,
Yeah. None of us, well, you don't have time to do that. At fairs, you do not have time to do that.
Oh,
Um, yeah, somebody made the comment. Sorry, they're not posting on my board. It's great information, and they love the idea of turtle shells. Hi, Russell. Everybody gave Russell a shout out. Somebody said, I think it was no, Barbara said she had lapis ruins.
yes,
That
yes.
would
Yeah,
be lapis. Lapis is a good, but again, you're going to have to clear. I feel like even though lapis is
yeah,
a
clear
really
them.
good third
Yeah.
eye, you're going to have to keep it clean. Oh, yeah. Barbara said hers are lapis. Yeah. Keep
That
them
lap,
clean.
just keep it clean. Keep it clean. You'll have better
Yeah.
reading. Really will. That'd be a good way to bond with
Even
them
for
too.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Even for yourself.
for yourself, cleanse those puppies every time you.
People don't understand that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're having a bad day,
Anything crystal.
yeah, if you're having a bad day and you're putting that energy into those runes, well, your next reading's going to be off with that little bit of that negative energy. Oh,
Mhm.
hey, if you're having a good day, I guess it's going to be positive the next time you pull them out. But just make sure you keep them clean if you got the crystal ones. I mean, I'll still smudge my runes every now and then if I feel like it, but they're so seasoned. It's like, they're okay.
Right. Whoever says she has tons of selenite in her home, that's good. See, selenite takes care of everything, but not everybody but thinks about that when they go to fairs. And then,
Yeah.
the other thing is when you go to fairs like we work fairs, is people buy the sets at the fairs and they instantly start reading themselves, and you got to clean them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like buying your candles from Walmart or Amazon. You got to clean your candles before you use them. You got to
Clean
clean
them.
everything.
Clean them, and I never blessed mine with blood, but I know my mentor did. I mean, hers have that rusty color to them, so you could put your own energy, blood. You could sleep with them. My turtle shell runes, I buried them out in my flower garden for like a whole winter, a whole cycle of winter, just to season them out there and get some of that good cleansing earthy energy into them. I did that with my runes. So when you do buy your set of runes, make sure just like when you do a tarot set, a brand new set of tarot cards, you want to bond with those runes before you really start reading them. And I recommend, man, you pull one a day. Learn it that way, because that's where the people are going to get frustrated with learning the runes. If you're trying to do something really complex right off the bat, you got to take it's not a race, slow and steady, man. And I can't believe I spent a year. I never stick with anything. I know I've got ADD. Okay. I know I can't, I go through hobbies just like that, but the runes, I stayed focused on those suckers, and that's something to say for that for me and anybody else. That you keep working with them. I
That's
guess
how
they
I
just,
feel with my bones.
yeah, the
I mean,
bones. Yeah,
I'm the same way with my bones. Like I read my
oh
bones,
yeah,
and they went with me to every initiation that I've been in. They have been under my pillow. They have traveled with me. They
yeah,
know everything.
that's right, exactly. Yeah,
And
cool, man. See, I'd like to do that too, but I'm like, the runes. I'm like, I got so
but
much.
I take my ruins too. I don't
They,
take my bones to paranormal investigations, but there have been times I have taken my ruins to communicate
yeah,
in things,
yeah, exactly.
because I know that there's going to be iffy things. Not all of them by any means, but there have been times I've been drawn to, hey, take your bag, because there's going to be somebody who's going to need to communicate by pulling something that you need to know. I've
So
taken a certain deck of cards with me to places. I rarely take my bones with me. It's too personal, and I don't want to bring them back home after they've been in those places.
and I don't read other people with my turtle shell runes. I mean, I might show
Right?
them and, hey, look at these. They sound good too. But yeah, so I mean, that's just it. If you're going to read for other people, I would recommend your own personal set, and then do
Mm-hmm.
your my working runes. And so do that as well with the runes, definitely. But and have fun with it. And don't
Don't
take
let, and don't let people handle him. That's
yeah,
another thing. Like, I'm
yeah,
not big into that. There are some people that will hand their set to people and say, "Here, check this out." I don't
yeah.
hand my cards to only certain people will I hand my cards to, and they're not my personal cards. They're not the cards I read for myself. Never,
Me, I'm
never.
very about, yeah, certain things just stay home, and I don't, yeah, especially my turtle shell runes. I wouldn't want to see them disappear either. That would really break my heart if I, God forbid, lost them. Oh my God. That'd be
Well, and
terrible.
I've
But
had people, and I hate to say lift, but I'm going to use the word lift. I've had people lift pieces from my bone set
oh
before.
yeah, it's terrible. It's like, why
And
do you
I've
want,
had people walk right up and touch them, and I'm like, "Excuse me, no, we do not do that."
don't do that. Don't yeah. People
It's
just
kind of like motorcycle etiquette. You never go sit on somebody's parked motorcycle. Don't touch my bones. Don't touch my.
get a car, you don't go to a car show and lean against the car, and
No.
but you just don't touch it. Yeah, runes are the same way, or anything, any spiritual tool. Sure, I mean, I'm like, here, shuffle your cards, you pick the cards, but they're still mine.
Right. Well, and I think etiquette has to be taught sometimes because people don't understand the connection.
Oh, definitely.
People, it's not that people are trying, well, I mean, there's always rude people, but it's not that people are trying to be rude. It's they don't understand. And you have to know that when we go to fairs, a lot of times the people that come are their first time goers, so they don't understand the rules. They
Oh,
don't
exactly.
understand the energy that goes through. They
That's
don't
right.
understand why it's $60 for a reading.
Oh
Well, this
yeah.
person down there's charging $15 for a reading. How come you're charging 60 and they're charging 15?
Yeah. I hate that too. It's like, but why cheapen it up so much? Why give it a? I mean, I know. I mean, I had a hard time charging when I began. Okay, so I'm like, oh, I'm not really giving. But it's all about energy exchange. So it's, hey, you get what you pay for. You want a $20 rune reading or a $20 card reading? You're gonna
Mhm.
get that. Okay. I mean, yeah, you want a good quality, then you're gonna pay a little more, and you're gonna get a good reading out of that. Because I put 100.
Absolutely, you are.
10% into my shit, okay? Is I have learned. I've done the homework. I've done the work. So I just feel like
I
I
have
deserve
too. Yeah.
education back. And people don't. It's funny because when I used to charge less for rune readings, I felt like not only did I make less, but I had fewer clients. Now that I'm charging a little more, all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I want the more expensive rune reading. I'm like, are you sure? No, I shouldn't even be asking that question. Of course you want
No,
the more. You want the
because
more.
the value. Yeah.
So I'm learning not to like, oh my god, you sure? Well, of course you want that, don't.
Yeah. I don't offer anything different. I have one price and I've even gone cash only.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm cash only. I don't Venmo. I don't credit card. I don't do any of that anymore. I am strictly
yeah.
cash
To the
only.
point.
And people, I've had a few people scuff and be
Yeah,
like, well, how do you expect to make any money? I don't worry about it. If you don't have the cash, you're
yeah,
not for
you're.
me. I mean,
Well,
I
yeah, I think.
posted all my gigs. I'm cash only. I have a sign up that says cash only, and then people will pull a credit card and say, "What do you mean?"
Yeah. Well, especially putting a sign up like cash only means, hey, cash only, and people should expect to go that to spirit fairs. Bring some cash with you. I
Yeah.
mean, it's more personal anyway. I think as
Well,
far as
yeah.
money, bring your Benjamins, not
Yeah.
your cash.
Yeah. Because I'm not working for tips. I don't care. I mean,
Yeah,
tips are great. I love tips. I mean, it helps me go shop and spread the money because any tips I get are going to go. They're going to go
exactly.
be spent at the fair. But
Yeah.
but I charge what I need to charge for my time. I charge what my time is worth.
Oh, well,
And I know
we
the value, as you do, the value of your time.
right. I mean, hours and hours of studying and reading and spending money on classes and just yeah, there's a lot of effort into it, So we deserve
Well, the
it.
connection, just that connection,
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the thing is,
is what is worth.
I'm reading the runes and connecting with Odin and Freya and giving, and not only them, but your ancestors and guides that want to pop into and tell you to listen to Madonna, like a prayer or whatever. So so I'm not, but the runes help stimulate that up there, and like I say, it's just the connections that runes. I don't know, I don't know. They're just my thing, I guess. I would love to
You're
help other.
passionate about it.
I am. I'm very passionate about it because they've changed my life for the better. I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it had been for the runes. They have. I've done my journey. I've become the master. Now I'm working on my vacation home, my retirement
It
plan.
is exciting. That's exciting for you.
It is. It makes me want to get up out of bed in the morning because I didn't feel that way when I was 40. I didn't want to get up out of the bed in the morning. I wanted to lay there and die.
No.
Oh, I've got something to live for. Yes. Yes. Motivation. I need that.
Greg, you're going to have to go back and find some now. You're going to have to go to a metaphysical fair and buy some.
Yeah,
Put your hands
absolutely.
on ones and what ones feel good to you.
Yeah.
And they're
Another
going
thing, find some deer antler slices. Okay, I've got a set of runes that are made out of deer antler slices, little thin little discs, and you could draw runes on them too. They're pretty cool too. or little wood discs. I've made some of them
Mhm.
too. Make some runes,
Yeah, make
do
your
that.
own.
Make
Yeah,
I
they're
Good.
not hard. They're not hard to make.
No, no, just get a book out, copy that. Yeah, and then season them a little bit out in the dirt. I think burying them in dirt's great too. Just put them in a little garden spot or someplace that kind of grows, and let them
It
season up.
grounds them. It grounds them.
It does. It kind of makes. I mean, that's my territory. I'm putting my mark, on that. And yeah, don't be
And that's
afraid to
important.
own. But you can find
I
some
will,
beautiful too. Don't get me wrong.
well, yeah, you can, but it is fun to make them as well. It is fun. And I have a great mat, besides the mat that, I just drew a
No,
blank on his name, Francois,
well, yes.
the one that he made. He painted mine as well, and I'll put his link.
Yeah. Well, please
I
do.
will.
I
Oh,
support
yeah,
him.
I'll put his link for it. But I also found this great. Here we go with Master Amazon. I found this great card, laminated card that you can put all of your ruins on that you draw, and it has the 3 levels, and then the other side has the meaning of each one, and how to apply it in general to your life. So it's kind of like a handbook all in one chart.
Yeah, that's
And it's
great too.
washable, people. It's laminated, it's heavy. So if you spill your coffee on it or something like that, you can just wipe it off with Windex.
Yep.
And I got that, I think, for like $13 or $14 on Amazon. So we'll get that link posted too, because it's a great way to learn.
Just a good simple guide, something real simple,
Mhm.
something not looking through a big thick book and trying to find these meanings. Because there's plenty of another thing too is just getting some note cards out. If you don't really want to go out and spend money on runes, you could just get some 24 note cards. Draw the runes on those note cards. I did that to memorize them too. I put them on note cards and wrote the meanings of them and wrote my notes. I'd watch the Thunder Wizard videos and write notes while I was watching his information, and you could lay those out as and pull those as runes. My mentor, she used to put them on, like, she'd get like paper plates and she'd draw the runes on the paper plates, and she'd do rune readings with paper plates, when it was in a
Oh,
pinch.
yeah.
So I mean, just you don't have to complicate it. You don't have to make it too hard to get yourself a
No.
set
And if you're
to
an
do.
oracle reader and a tarot reader, there are tarot and oracle decks with ruins
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
have the meanings. So you can go that way too and learn while you're doing something you're comfortable doing, learn
exactly.
the
But that's
different
just
runes that way as well.
definitely educate yourself with it, and get to know the runes and let the runes get to know you, okay? Because they are bonding with they're your spiritual ride, okay? But Awaz is one of the runes, and I call that the spiritual ride. It's the horse rune. You got to find your spiritual ride. The runes can be not only that toolbox member, but it can be your ride. It can be what connects you with the spirit realm. Think of it as you're being your horse. Get on that horse and ride. What horse you want to pick out? You want a paint? You want a pinto? You want an Appaloosa? Pick your horse, pick your ride. And then get on there and do it. Tame that horse,
Don't
but
don't overcomplicate. Do
don't.
not overcomplicate it, and don't get frustrated with it. People do that with bones. They do that
Yeah.
with cards. Just
Yes.
just take your time with it and bond with each one. And if it takes you a month to bond with one, then it took you a month. You're a month ahead of where you were because now you've bonded with 1 out of 24.
Because when I started, I always read the runes in the positive. Okay, for a whole year, it was always positive and sunny for Becky. Well, my mentor's like, "Are you reading them in reverse?" No, no, I'm not doing. I'm not brave enough for that yet. I don't want to hear the truth. So I started reading the 24 symbols turns into 48. Whoa, there you go. See, just like that,
Hmm.
boom. 48 opportunities, 48 messages. But if you got to do that, read them in the positive. There are
Sure.
really no rules to it, okay? I mean, don't box yourself into this rules, with these runes, guys. I mean, they're wonderful. We want to keep the runes active. We want to teach people.
Absolutely.
Got to keep
Absolutely.
with those. So I'm a messenger for the runes. Odin wants me to give you the message. Pick up some runes. Just do it.
You're the
Okay.
teacher. You're the teacher, the educator
All right.
for Odin.
the tradition has been passed on to me from my mentor. I'm passing it on to other people. So seriously, get a hold of me on my Facebook page. I do teach the runes as well, and I could do that online. I'm trying to get more an online presence. I enjoy doing in-person interaction, but I realize not everybody can come to Hutchinson, Kansas, okay, and hang out with
No,
me.
no. And not everybody has the money to go to shows.
Except no go to shows, but yeah, so I do teach the runes too if anybody's interested. And I had a very good teacher that encouraged me as well, and she's like, share my information, because she wants to spread that rune message too. That was her original divination system when Psychic Cynthia started out when she was 14, 15 years old. She had to learn a divination system, and she chose the runes over tarot cards. Okay, and that's kind of interesting to think that she did that.
That is.
That's what she chose. And then my mother, okay, the first time I ever did a rune reading from my mother, she's sitting there going, I had a set of runes back in the early 80s. I have no idea what happened to them, but I recognize these symbols. And I'm like, whoa, Mom, you used to read the runes?
Wow.
I was shocked, but she just forgot about it. She got too busy being a mother. And somehow so it's kind of cool to see my mom read the runes back in the day or did something with them. So, it's kind of neat, I don't think she did the Ralph Bloom thing, but,
Greg says you need to start a course. She does teach, Greg. She does. So hit her up.
I really do. I know I need to get more structured with it. I know. I'm a lazy Libra. Okay. Gosh. I know. I need
level Libra, not lazy. Level.
There you go. Thank you.
Level. Nice things about yourself. Nice things about yourself. We're going to get all these links up. We'll make sure that we get them all attached to the page, and we'll get them all in 24 hours. Give us 24 and I'll get everything loaded up. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me, and I'm all wide awake now. I'm gonna have a hard time going to sleep now.
Oh shoot! And you got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Darn.
Well, my drugs. I'm a pharmacy technician, guys, and I deal drugs. Well, all last week, my orders didn't come in, so I'm going to have a giant order showing up tomorrow, and I'm kind of dreading it because I'm going to have a lot of stuff to unpack. But thank God I'm going to have my drugs. Okay, so I've been stressing about that, but that's okay.
You got your Skittles, as we say in the prison system. You got your Skittles.
Yum yum.
Yum yum. What flavor is your favorite? Oh my.
Well, thank you so much,
folks. Thank you so much. It's been such a joy, and it's been fun reconnecting, and I can't wait to see you at the next show. Whenever we're gonna get to go. I know. Kansas City. We're all kind of spread out doing our things, but thank you guys so much for joining us. And Becky, love to you. I hope 2025 is wonderful for everybody. Take care. We're going to end the show, and we'll get everything up. And you can find Becky on her Facebook page, Becky Lee Blackburn. But like I said, we'll tag everything.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you guys for paying attention to me and letting me share the runes. I mean, I could go another hour with it, but we
could, but she got to go to work tomorrow. So thank you, Carol, Barbara, everybody. Good night. Take it easy.